Welcome, my friends, to the Spirituality, Healing, and Vision Quest podcast, where we're going to take a deep dive into universal spiritual principles and ground them in modern day practices that you can apply to your life today. Hi, my name is Beth Berkins, and I want you to know that I am really committed to simplifying ancient wisdom practices. I've been studying them for over 40 years now and inside of them, and I want to give you easy to understand, proven, and reliable keys that are going to unlock true sources of power and healing for you. You're going to walk away from this podcast with some practical tools to create that greater meaning and purpose, that larger purpose that your soul is calling you to. All right, so let's get going on the next episode. Thanks for joining me. Hello, my friends, and welcome to Spirituality, Healing, and the Vision Quest. I'm Beth Berkins, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. It's a beautiful sunny day here in California. And I've just been this morning sitting on the sun porch, looking out at the birds of paradise that are beginning to think about blooming, and the wild sweet pea and the hummingbird diving into it, beautiful pink blossoms, and listening to the two red-tailed hawks talking back and forth and back and forth. And also earlier this morning, hearing the doves who have just returned to the neighborhood here, talking to each other with their beautiful cooing sound. You know, these beautiful bird beings, they've got their purpose. They know exactly, what they're doing in life, and they're guided by that inner instinct and that inner knowing, and they just do it with such beauty. And I was thinking about the many clients I've worked with this week, and students and vision questers, and I think every one of them has been concerned with what their purpose is and how to really, tune into that, fine tune and turn up the volume on that. And I've helped so many people really all over the country, and also on a masterclass I did, help some people in Canada as well. It's just such a concern for so many people. We've all got good lives, and yet so many people sense there's an opportunity that they haven't stepped into yet. There is greater meaning that they're looking for. And I've been thinking about, why your purpose really matters, and was reminded of a beautiful Rumi quote. If you know Rumi, the Persian poet from like 10 centuries ago, he said this. He said, "It's as if a king sent you from a far and distant land to do one specific task. You could do 1,000 other things while you're here. But if you don't do the one thing for which he sent you, it's going to feel as if you've done nothing." And this was kind of the radiating sense in the clients and students who I've worked with all week, and the people in the masterclass, wanting to know, what is that one specific task that I am so designed for, so suited for, doing what you're uniquely put on this planet to do. You can think of your purpose as one task. We could say that the Queen has sent you to do from this far and distant land. You have come here. Think about it. There's never been, this is Martha Graham speaking, there's never been another person like you on the planet, and there never will be. You have gifts, you have talents, you have your whole history behind you, backing you up. There'll be never another person like you. You've got these gifts. Only you can live them. They were given to you to share these. I remember when I was in high school, I didn't have words like this, but I was so sure and knowing that there was something beyond the high school I was in. I mean, I was excelling academically. I was in all the scholarship classes. I knew there was something greater. And one of my friends, Tom, and I, we were so dissatisfied. We were both, into writing and journalism, and we were so dissatisfied with the school newspaper, which, was rather, blasé and party line, and oh, we're going to have this football game, and these people won that, and oh, you can come to the gym for this. And we wanted to do something much more exciting. So we just, on our own, without permission, started an alternative high school newspaper. And we talked about things that were being talked about, but weren't being formally shared. We got in so much trouble. I think we only got to do 2 of those editions, but I had that feeling of, mission accomplished. I am doing something of value here, not just, what's been given out. You got to do this and get an A in that and excel in volleyball and basketball and, trampoline and all of that. So I want to just invite you to dream a little bit here now. You might be walking your dog as you're listening to this with, the iPhone in your pocket, or you might be driving to shop or to a meeting. I don't know where you are, but thank you for tuning in and just taking this time for you. You're a person who's interested in personal growth and personal transformation. So let's get into that, right? Let yourself dream a little bit, if you could do it. What is this one gift that you have that you're not really using and you would love to be sharing that? This one longing that you've got. Maybe, you've had this feeling you'd really like to lead self-esteem workshops for girls in high school who are really having a rough time. Or you want to write your book, or maybe it's more general. So often when people begin to work with me in the Vision Quest or in a shamanism program, they come with this urge and they say, I don't know what it is exactly, and I certainly don't know how I would do this, but I really want to help others. I know there's this burning desire in my heart and soul. I want to help other people. I've had a rough time in life. I somehow managed to get through it, and I want to help others through their rough times. Maybe it's a general thought like that. Maybe you don't even have words for it, but you've got this longing in your heart. This, in shamanism, we give it a name. We can say a calling to something greater. Maybe you want to, start a pastry business. And I'm thinking of this amazing woman in Santa Cruz County named Gail. I mean, she's very famous at this point. Gayle. This is like maybe 25 years ago. She was making, all these incredible breads and pastries and scones, for all of her friends, and was starting to sell them from her home. And she said in an interview once that she had an epiphany one day when she looked around the house and realized absolutely every surface in the house was filled with one kind of pastry or another that was cooling and waiting, to go into a bag. She thought, it's really time for me to open a bakery. So she did that. She didn't know how to run a business, in that sense, but she did. I think she's got 50 or 60 employees now. It's standing room only to get in there. Gail's rotisserie and bakery, extraordinary food. So if you could, what would you do? What would you love to do? What would you love to share? What would you love to give? So I'm going to just give you a little tiny snapshot, a little Polaroid of me after my first vision quest. And I'm going to tell you this story just briefly, not so you'll know more about me, but rather I'm hoping it will spark something inside of you and you'll be able to make some kind of connection for yourself. So I had a vision up in the Inyo White Mountains on my first vision quest. I had a vision that it was time for me to bring all these 9 different courses I was teaching at all these different locations, bring them together in one focus center and to really start my own school. It was a brand new thought. It came out of nowhere, but it came out of everywhere because I had went into the quest so burned out. And so I went home with this vision. I thought, oh gosh, I don't know how to run a business. And this is California. There's got to be a lot of rules and a lot of regulations, and it's going to cost a lot of money. I have no idea how to do this. And what if I fail? Oh my God, what if I started and I fail? So I had all these very old beliefs coming up, right? I was so excited when I went home. Yeah, I'm doing this. And then all these beliefs came up that just pulled me backwards and pulled me, back into this kind of gravitational force field of the familiar, that comfort zone of just, Beth, you're doing really good work. The voices said, just keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to start a school. You're not cut out for this. You're not a genius. I had to really wrestle with those beliefs. And I made a very important move. I hired a mentor to work with me. This gentleman who understood about running businesses, especially, a spiritual based business. And he helped me, stepping stone by stepping stone by stepping stone, open my school, the School of the Living Springs. And I offered shamanism courses and vision quests and medicine wheel, many different kinds of courses in my own school for about 16 or 17 years. It helped so many people. And I just loved running my own business, having my own bookkeeper and my own email list and doing the mailings and the newsletters, and was really thrilling, and doing the work, of course. Talk about, Gail, and every surface is filled with pastries. I got to the point where, everywhere in my office, in the living room, and my little spirit healing room was filled with students and participants who were learning the shamanic journey method. And I realized, you know what? I've got to rent a room somewhere. So, it was just fear that I was up against. And I addressed each one of those fears and put them to sleep, put them to rest, and installed really a new operating system inside myself so I could run my own school. So let's come back and think about you now. As you just kind of lean into and notice what you're noticing, you get excited about, yeah, I would love to open a deli. Yeah, I want to open a bicycle repair shop. Yeah, I really want to write my book. I would love to lead tours. I want to do what Beth is doing. I'd love to lead tours into the Mojave Desert and, get to know the cactus wren and the wild burros and the wild horses, the wild mustangs that are there, and help people get connected, to the spirits of nature. Whatever it is for you, bring it to mind. And as you really think about it and think about moving towards that, stepping into that, most likely there's going to be some feelings that come up, some beliefs about yourself. If it's about, I want to write my book finally. You may have known for many years you've got a book in you. I want to write that book. I'm going to do that. Notice what doubts come up. It's a normal, natural thing because you're moving out of your comfort zone. Notice what doubts come up. You might think, I'm not a J.K. Rowling, or I'm not an Ernest Hemingway. I'm not a genius. I didn't study. I didn't get an MFA in college. I didn't study this. I just know some things I want to share, and that's just not enough. I don't have a PhD. Notice those doubts that come up relative to whatever you would love to be doing. This one specific task. This, what you uniquely were put on this planet to do. Just notice what feelings come up. What's the voice? The voice that says, oh, I don't think so. Not now. We'll do this later when we retire. Or whatever it's saying. Go ahead. Just listen to that. It's okay to do this, by the way. It's perfectly safe. You don't have to make any life changes. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to make an investment. You're just listening to what is going on inside. So important to just take a moment and listen. And now I'm going to invite you to write this down. If you're at a place where you can pull your car over in a rest stop, or you got a notebook in your back pocket, just, pause the dog for a moment here as I'm trying to pause the heater from making its sound. That's like, the belief, oh, stop. Go ahead and write that belief down. Maybe it says you don't have the connections you need to do that kind of thing. You're too old for that. You should have done that when you were 30. Just write it down, that voice. It's just fear that's talking to you because you're stepping outside of your known world by really entertaining the thought, if I could do this, this is what I would do. This is what I'd really love to do. You're giving voice, spreading your wings to the larger life that's calling to you. How exciting. And at the same time, fear comes up. So write it down on a piece of paper, what that voice is, what it's saying. Good job, by the way. You're doing really, really good work here. I must commend you. It takes courage to look at these kind of things, right? What is it I haven't been living that I would love to live? And what are the voices and beliefs that have been holding me back and stopping doing that very thing? Good job. So you've written it down. And no, it's not the truth. It's just an old belief. It's just an old story, very old story. And it's not your fault. You probably inherited these beliefs from someone in your family, or a teacher, or, a spiritual leader, or a neighbor, or somebody, brother, sister. So you've written it down. And now what do you do with this? You got to let it go. You got to let it go. And so I'm going to invite you. You want to make room for the new story that wants to emerge, that you want to build upon, the new foundation. I'm going to invite you to go outside after this podcast closes in just a moment. Open up your grill, your Weber or whatever you've got, gas grill, or go to your fireplace or your wood-burning stove, or get a pot out of the kitchen, a big pot, go out in the driveway with it, and really, hold this piece of paper in your hand and say, thank you, but I'm done with you. I'm letting you go. Put it in the pot, in the fire pit, and burn it. And just watch how the flames just, gently eat around it and eat it up and turn it to ash. It's okay. You can do this. You can let this go. That's the piece. When you want to get to your purpose and what the queen or king has sent you to do from this far, far distant land, this specific task, this greater purpose, this greater meaning. You want to open that door of opportunity that's been there in front of you that you haven't really said yes to because all these things were holding you back. Now you've let go of one of these things and you want to do the thing that you've been sent here to do, right? And I'm going to help you with that. Beautiful. So next time we will talk more about purpose. But for now, let's get ready for that. Write it down, go to the fire pit, burn it, and let it go. And then just sit quietly and think about this one thing that you would love to do. The thing that you know you're uniquely put on this planet to do. In specific terms or in general terms. Just be with that. Breathe into that. That's your gift. And we'll talk about the gift more next time. All right. Thank you so much. Bravo to you for having the courage to listen and to lean in to what's going on with you and to say yes to the greater self, the greater mission, the greater purpose. All right. I'll see you soon. Thanks so much. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. So any questions, any comments, please feel free to connect with me personally on my website, bethbergens.com. And if you feel guided to, one thing that I do ask is for you to rate the podcast. This way we can reach way more people. And in that way, impact more lives, of course. So with that, I'll see you on the next exciting Spirituality and Vision Quest podcast.